So we'll start. All right, what's up, guys? So we're here. We're actually in Puerto Vallarta right now in Mexico. Me and Aaron just got in the other night. We've been having a fucking amazing time. Obviously, we're here in this beautiful, beautiful place with some noise going on in the background. But, so we just want to sit down and chat. And, we've been getting some questions about, me and Aaron and kind of our thought process and things. And so we're just kind of do like an interview question to kind of help you guys out. So I think Aaron had a really good question.
Yeah.
That was asked. So what was your question?
So, in your opinion, Mike,
Yeah.
how has the dating scene changed over the last 10, 15 years?
10 years, it's changed dramatically. Like, it's not the same, like, when I started out trying to date girls or meet girls, you know what I mean? It wasn't, because there was no social media, there was no status online, like, that wasn't a thing. The only way you can meet chicks was in a bar, in a club, or in college, or something like that. So, and it wasn't so much about materialism like it is now. Materialism is a huge thing. Girls walking around with Gucci bags and Chanel and all this shit. It wasn't like that before. Like when I was like first starting out in my younger 20s. So, and definitely in America, it's totally different than it is, let's say, in Mexico or in other countries, right? So, you really have to up the game, unfortunately. Because, women, what they really look for in a guy is who the guy is, right? How much value he has to her. And what I mean by value, a man has to build his value in multiple different areas, right? His financial value, his social value, and his sexual value too, right? All these things have to be built. I always say, if you leave one out, it's going to really hurt you. For example, if you have really good social value, you have a lot of friends, etc., and you have a lot of financial value, you've done well with money, that's great. But if you have no sexual value, you don't know how to turn a girl on, you don't know how to talk to her, make her laugh, know what to do, then you're going to lack. And vice versa, right? If any of these things are severely lacking, people just say, oh, it's all about money. You just got to have money. I disagree with that. I know a lot of guys that have money that don't get any girls. You know what I mean? I know a lot of guys that have a lot of social status too, that are famous and whatever, still don't get girls, right? So it's not just about one thing. It's a combination of all these things and fine tuning them. And now the dating scene, you have to really come with a big edge. I mean, you got to really put in the work, because if you don't, you're going to fall into like the 90% of guys that don't get anything. And it's like going to the gym or anything. You have to be consistent at it. And you have to really want it. That's the only way you're going to get good at something. So it's dramatically changed. Your Instagram's got to be good, I would say. Your social skills have to be on point. Your financial status has to be at least slightly above average. And it takes work. It's not easy. It takes work, right? People are like, oh man, it's too hard, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it is hard. But anything is hard, right? I'm almost going to say like the dating market has inflated, just like the price of everything, right?
Okay.
You got to pay a higher price, meaning that you have to have more value. 10 years ago, I don't think you had to have as much value as you need now. But everything's got is more expensive. And girls, what they look for value-wise has gone up too in a guy. So I think it's dramatically changed. So you have to really come with a stronger game. Practice, learn all these things, go at it hard. I think in other countries like Mexico, it is a little easier. So, but that's
why do you think it's easier in other countries like Mexico?
I think it's easier because there's still some big cultural influence that was more traditional here, meaning that the family unit is still intact here. So that has more value. Also, the wages here and the lifestyle here is not overinflated like it is in the United States. The girls here, for the most part, are not walking around with Gucci bags, and they don't have the access to the financial resources that girls in America have access to, right? They're more shielded from that, which makes them a little bit more humble.
Okay.
Which makes it, still, you're not going to start slaying it, but it is somewhat of a more you know, I'm not going to say easier, but it is a little bit more of a smoother experience when you try to talk to the girls in other countries that are not as used to the, you know, social and financial flexing that goes on in America.
Got it.
And I know you started out, you started out as a promoter and you were doing all that stuff. So you've really got to see too how things have changed, right? I mean, you saw dramatically. So I guess for you, how have you seen it changed as far as, you know, being in the clubs and when you're being a promoter as now?
So when I started out and I was promoting, there wasn't, social media was just kind of becoming a thing.
Right.
Like there was Facebook.
Right.
I had a Facebook. I kind of used it.
Right.
I eventually heard about this Instagram thing. I'm like, this is silly. This is dumb. I'm obviously not going to get Instagram.
Right.
And now I use that more than Facebook, of course.
Right.
So seeing social media evolve
Right.
has given people more access. And I also think it almost sets a fake expectation for certain people of what relationships or their life should look like. Because someone takes a video in the perfect moment with the perfect filter, and you think everything in their relationship's good, but then 4 months later they're getting a divorce and they're breaking up on Facebook.
Right.
So I think it's taking everything with a grain of salt and understanding that you do have more access with social media, and it is good to strive for more, but not everything has to be perfect. You can still have a good relationship, even with some disagreements here and there.
Well, that's interesting. So, but more interesting too is you moved from St. Louis, Missouri,
Yes.
to Newport Beach, California.
Yes.
So, what is the dramatic differences there? As meeting girls in like the Midwest when you're in St. Louis, as opposed to a really high, densely populated, and a really financial, successful place like Newport Beach.
St. Louis still has a little bit more of that feel of family and not caring as much about the Gucci bags and things like that.
Right.
There's definitely some of that out there.
Right.
There is.
Right.
But in Newport, it's on steroids.
It's on. Yeah, I would agree.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Like you can go out to a bar in St. Louis and walk around and talk to people, and generally they're friendly and everything's fine and everyone's there just to hang out. You go to certain places in Newport in California, everyone's just looking for the table.
Right.
Yeah, they don't really care. They just want the table. They want to be by the DJ.
Right.
And that's like a more driving factor for them.
Right. No, I completely agree. It's just you kind of have to weigh the pros and the cons, right? Because Newport, you just have more abundance of more attractive girls than you do, and I would say in St. Louis.
True.
Right. So it's kind of a give and take sort of thing. And then I wanted to see, I remember before, also 10 years ago, online dating wasn't as prevalent as it is now, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of just taken over, almost. I mean, we've seen, we land here, and you get on an app, and you can set up dates, and the girls can set up dates, and it's all become digitalized. So it's much harder now when the options, especially for a young girl, are overwhelmingly abundant. It's always there on the phone, right? So this is why I think you have to come with a stronger, much stronger, bag of tools when you want to get the girls that you ultimately want to get. And it's hard. It's definitely gotten harder. It's not, and you know what? And my prediction is it's not going to get any easier. It's not going to get any easier. I think it's only going to get harder. So if you don't start putting in the work now, it's definitely going to be a big struggle, right? Like I even would say, when it comes to making money in the internet business, right? It was definitely easier 7-8 years ago, right? Now there's more barriers. It's definitely gotten harder. There's more avenues, but also now there's more competition. There's more people in these avenues, which is make it trickier. But I've always found with anything, if you don't start at all, it only gets harder. You know what I mean? It only does. So, that's just kind of my take on that.
So I got to ask you another question.
Okay.
So you said a few minutes ago that there's something like 10%. If you're in the 90%,
Right.
you're still not going to do good. You're going to suck.
Right.
Why is that the case?
It's the case because women are programmed, biologically. Like, we're programmed to get the hottest girl. Okay, That's just how it is. That's just how men are. I have a very, very good saying: is men fall in love with their eyes, and women fall in love with their ears. Or like who the man is.
Wow.
And so women are programmed to only go after always the top 10% of men. The top, alpha males, if you want to use that term, or just they're programmed to always go after the men that are the highest in the pack. And unfortunately their wiring is that they only notice those men. They only do. They don't notice, the guy that's a cook in the back of the kitchen. They don't even notice that guy. It doesn't even exist. We notice any girl, every girl. We always judge, is that one cute? Is that one girl? That was, you know what I mean? But girls, they have a very strong filtering system.
Okay.
So, and that's just biologically programmed like that. So, if you don't do whatever you need to do to put yourself in the top 10% of valued men that her filtering system is just looking at, then you unfortunately will go unnoticed.
Got it.
And it's not the girl's fault. It's just how it is. It's just biological programming. Like, it's not our fault that we see how the girl looks, and that's obviously probably the most important thing, right? It's not our fault. It's just how we're wired. And it's not the girl's fault. It's just how they're wired. They're wired with a very intense filtering system for men, right? To only notice the men that are the top tier in the group that she has access to. Having access to is very important, right? So if her access is like here, then her filtering system only goes to that top, and there's indicators, right? The way the guy carries himself, who he is, who he's surrounded by, the women he's dated before, his financial status, etc. So you want to do what you can do. If there is 100 guys in her field of vision, you got to do what you need to do to get yourself in the 10 guys that she's only noticing. And that's just how the case works. But anyways, we got to get back to work and everything. But this has been a fun, I think, little segment. We just wanted to drop a little video, guys, and say hi and answer some questions that we've been getting, but in a fun kind of way. So we'll see you guys very soon, and hope you guys have a good one. That was good.